Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Quadruple killing in Westmoreland, several others injured. Attorney reacts to call for greater focus to be placed on sexual offences. And later in sports medicine specialist agrees with Issa on schoolboy restroom. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry and Simpson. Here are the details. The Westmoreland police are investigating the shooting of 8 people, 4 fatally, in the parish Monday night. TVJ News understands that a group of people were at a bar in New Roads district when armed men drove up in a black Toyota Corolla Fielder and opened fire at them. When the shooting subsided, 8 people were found suffering from bullet wounds. It's believed that during the shooting, one of the gunmen was shot and killed by his cronies. 8 rounds of ammunition was found in his possession. They were taken to the Savannah Lamar Hospital, where 4 were pronounced dead and the other 4 admitted in serious but stable condition. The deceased have been identified as 41-year-old Damian Baker, Dane Scott, otherwise called Moses, Rocky Lawrence, and a man identified only as Future. The police say the deceased are all from New Roads district in Westmoreland. 2 police officers attached to the St. Anne Police Division will face the St. Anne Parish Court this afternoon on corruption charges arising out of 2 recent incidents committed in the parish. Constable Hugh Smith is facing charges for the offence of misconduct in a public office, and District Constable Petronas MacDonald has been charged for misconduct in a public office and breaches of the Corruption Prevention Act. They were charged last week, Tuesday. They have been out on bail since. A response this afternoon to calls for lawmakers to put greater focus on sexual offences to minimize the increase in cases. The appeal came from Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Jeremy Taylor in the wake of court data showing that sexual offense cases now lead in terms of matters before the court. But speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica, attorney Peter Champagny KC is of the view that focus should be placed on the root causes of sexual offences and not the symptoms.
Focus on bringing parents to book who have their children who are on the road, who are exposed to all kinds of elements in terms of very dangerous and criminal activities, and bring them to the court for them to under the parental neglect, and you take it from that angle.
And Mr. Champagny commented on the perception of how the courts hand down sentencing.
There has been an increase in terms of the penalty section in the new legislation, the Sexual Offences Act. For example, it now mandates life, and in some instances you have minimum period of 15 years and so on. So it is an increase from the previous legislation that spoke about 7 years and so on. So I think that sentiment is often expressed whenever it is that someone is pleading guilty to an offense, as opposed to going through a trial and then at the end of the exercise is found guilty. And in those circumstances, the sentence is something that is quite severe.
Member of Parliament for Trelawney Northern Tova Hamilton has fired back at critics who claim she is not working in the best interest of her constituents. Ms. Hamilton was addressing supporters at a JLP divisional conference in Falmouth on Sunday. Shamela Pullen reports.
Member of Parliament for Trelawney Northern, Tova Hamilton, has been facing intense criticism from opponents in recent times about her accomplishments in the constituency since she assumed the role of MP in 2020. However, Ms. Hamilton says she remains unfazed by her critics.
While the naysayers are busy crafting stories, I have been crafting a real change. While they are busy spreading rumors and propaganda, I am spreading development. And while they are sitting around talking, I've been walking with you. I have been building with you. And I've been delivering real results for you.
Pointing to the role of women in politics, she says progress has been made in recent years.
Out of those 18, 17 of them were men. Only one. Only one single one has been a woman. That woman is me. One woman. I am the first female MP to represent you. And let me tell you something. My achievements have eclipsed all 17 of them combined.
In the next general election, she will face the PNP's Wickham McNeil. Mr. McNeil, a 5-term MP for Westmoreland Western, lost that seat in the 2020 election.
Ask yourself this. Whose brilliant idea was it to drag him here in a constituency he barely knows? Must be a British man. Let me tell you something that they don't want you to know. They have no faith in him where he's coming from. And they're trying to pawn him off on us.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Still from that JLP meeting in Trelawney, Councillor for Montego Bay South Division and Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, blasted the People's National Party for, quote, defiling the political platform. Mr. Vernon described as having no standard the PNP's decision to have popular dancehall artist Vybz Kartel appear on the party's platform.
We have a duty to communicate standard. Yes. And when I sat down September 15th of this last week, was it last week? When I sat down and tuned into TVJ and saw the circus happening. When I saw the circus happening, I asked, where is the standard?
He says the country should not be distracted, but to focus on what really matters, and that's to ensure it is being steered in the right direction.
The Jamaica Labour Party will fill up the national arena because we stand on performance. We stand on service to our communities. Many people don't understand when we talk about many of the things that you deem big things that little people don't hear about. But it affects us more than we believe.
Residents of St. James are set to benefit from the construction of 4 additional health centres in the parish. This to the tune of $500 million. The project is to begin in January next year.
The health sector in St. James has been given a major boost. In addition to the work being done at the Cornwall Regional Hospital, more is coming.
This region has been given $500 million to improve on health centres here in St. James and other areas. Within the next year, January, we will be looking at a brand new health centre for Farm Heights and one in Norwood. We will be facilitating the building of a brand new health centre in Maroontown and one in Roehampton.
Parish manager of the St. James Public Health Services, Lennox Wallace, says work will be done on other health centres across the parish.
Mafuta and Hopetown Health Centre in January will receive much work that is to be done. In addition, we have been through the procurement processes already, and the work will start in January.
In the meantime, Mr. Wallace says as part of the upgrade, residents will now be able to see a doctor any day of the week.
The ministry has created posts for us to employ, and we have begun the process already, to employ doctors and nurses. So any day that you go to a facility, you should be able to see a doctor without delay.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More local stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The Northeast Regional Health Authority says persons will soon be able to access 24-hour emergency services at the Alexandria Hospital in St. Anne. Regional Director Fabia Lam says the services were scaled back after the facility was downgraded some years ago. But she says once the current hospital renovation is complete, the services will be added.
Right now we go up to 10 p.m., but we are building out the services to ensure that after this intervention, we'll now have at accident and emergency a 24-hour service so that patients can be stabilized and when necessary, they can be moved, if required, to St. Anne's Bay by the way of ambulances. But at least the citizens in that section of our parish will have easier access to the Alexandria Hospital.
The staff complement will also be increased.
We're not just looking at infrastructure improvement. We also have started and have also received posts for additional doctors. We're now trying to attract them to go to Alexandria. Beautiful community, very quiet. So we are trying to find the selling points to get doctors to go to the Alexandria Hospital to work. So we are continuing strategies to get persons in those posts.
Residents of Hampstead in St. Mary are expressing growing frustration over the lack of electricity, garbage collection and water shortages in the parish. Kelisha Williams tells us more.
It has been an uncomfortable few months for the people living in Hampstead St. Mary, and so they did not hold back at a recent town hall meeting where they sought answers from representatives of the National Water Commission (NWC) and the Jamaica Public Service (JPS). In sharing her experience, one resident demanded a clear timeline for the issues to be addressed. She also emphasized the urgent need for reliable utilities in their daily lives.
People who lives in Ballas Valley, they're having a really tough time with water. These people are having this situation from the highway was built. I made strong representation for them about 2017, 2018, thereabout, where they were getting bills and they didn't have water in the pipes. My next question is to JPS. See in Ballas Valley, coming from the main road coming in, it is so dark. And this is a community where we have a lot of ladies and children. Now JPS, I need you to look at this community. I need you to look at the space. It is dark now because it's night now. So when you're going down, you will see what I'm speaking about.
In response, officials from both organizations outlined the challenges they face in restoring services.
Some pipes are run down there already, but water will be put in the pipes when the Jordan run, as Mr. Brown had mentioned. When that system is up and running, we'll be having one set of a water wheel pump into Islington and down by Jordan run pump into Highgate. So we'd have enough water to feed Ballards Valley. So that is the reason why Ballards Valley is not connected at the time. But the pipes are there. It's only the connection to be made from down by Mr. Grant. So as soon as the system is up and operational, then Ballards Valley will be connected.
In the event that there were streetlights before, what you can do, just let us know where the streetlights were. We can follow up with our streetlight team just to do some background check, our auditing, to confirm the lamps were there. If it was there and it is no longer there, the intent is for us to replace the lamps.
In the meantime, Counsel for the Hampstead Division, Mitzi Hudson Hicks, addressed the garbage collection issues.
Remember, solid waste is supposed to be working on a schedule. right? So if you, the residents, don't tell me that your garbage is not collected, if I don't come in the area, I do not know. So all you have to do, if you see where it's beyond the time for your regular pickup, just call me and I will liaise with solid waste and see how best they can come.
Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaicans spent 13.5% more money to import goods in the raw material and intermediate goods category for January to May 2024 compared to the same period last year. Statin says these imports amounted to $856.6 million versus the $990.3 million recorded for January to May 2023. The value of industrial supplies imported decreased by 15.8% to $441.1 million. The National Statistics Agency says this was due mainly to lower imports of feeding stuff for animals and electrical machinery, apparatus, and appliances. Further afield, thousands of port workers from Boston to Houston are on strike. Members of the International Longshoremen's Association walked off the job 1 minute after midnight Tuesday. Among their ultimatums, higher pay and the continuation of its current ban on fully automated equipment. This move will cripple the transfer of a wide variety of goods from bananas to beer at cargo ports along the entire eastern Gulf coasts. The Anderson Economic Group estimates a 1-week strike could cost the U.S. economy more than $2 billion. And depending on the length of the strike, consumers are likely to see higher prices from retailers nationwide. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Kalisha Williams.
Thanks, Kalisha. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Haiti has officially joined the CARICOM and African Export-Import Bank Afro-Exim partnership, becoming the 12th member. The signing took place during the 79th United Nations General Assembly, with Prime Minister Gary Kani and Afro-Exim Chairman Professor Benedict Orama formalizing the agreement. The partnership enables Haitian public and private sectors to access a $1.5 billion financing limit for projects and trade. Afro-Exim also announced a $250 million facility to aid Haiti's economic rebuilding. On the international scene, the death toll from Hurricane Helene has reached 128 across 6 states, with nearly 2 million people without power in the U.S. Floodwaters are receding, revealing extensive destruction. Most fatalities in North Carolina occurred inland, particularly in Buncombe County, where at least 40 people have died and Asheville is submerged. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Nikinsky Robinson.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports roundup.